Coming up, I'm going to teach you how to speak like a professional, and then the dress shirt and chinos, no longer acceptable casual professional wear. We'll break it down and more next. Hey, I'm here to help you win at work, because I can tell you this, if you're winning at work, you got a great shot of winning in the rest of your life. This is the Ken Coleman Show. I'm Ken. All right. One of the big search engine things we see out there for people that want to level up, upskill in their work, become a better professional is how to speak better. Now, interestingly enough, this is a long held piece of data that people would rather die than speak publicly. So what we're not talking about here necessarily is being a public speaker, a keynote speaker, a professional motivational speaker, that kind of stuff. Okay? Because we know a large percentage of the population has zero interest in that at all. However, communicating better and speaking better, the actual, because communication is not limited to speaking. All right? And we'll cover some of that. But actually, how can someone be better at speaking? In other words, just talking. Doesn't have to be given a speech, but day in and day out, can you become a better speaker? The answer is yes. So I want to walk through some of these. Okay. So the pros, people that are great speakers, there are some attributes, there are ways to get there. So number one way to be a better speaker in any area of life. Number one, clarity and conciseness. Super clear and concise. In other words, don't take 20 minutes to say something that you can say in 2. Be clear. Now, there's 2 types of clarity here. Clear message. Here's the thing I want to tell you. And then tell them. Be clear. Don't be confusing. Be really clear. The other thing is enunciate. Now, I'm gonna poke a little fun at myself here. And the social media team can speak to this, and I do it some on this show. I catch myself sometimes not enunciating clearly enough because I think fast and talk fast. Nathan's worked with me a long time. I'm sure you've noticed it before. I'll get talking fast, and I let one word bleed into the next word. Bob Borquez is running the board today. He's a longtime voice talent. I do this. So I'm calling myself out to say that I can get excited, and if I'm talking too fast, I got to let a couple words, you know what I mean? And you can mumble. And I'm not mumbling, but I'm not being clear. And so I was filming social media stuff today, and I remind myself I need to be sometimes clearer in not just the messaging, but the delivery. So clear and concise. Number two, how to speak like a pro. Confidence. Oh, this is huge. Confidence. So a couple things here. Whether in a meeting or in a one-on-one, confidence is huge in your ability to speak well. And we know from body language experts that posture and a strong pose is actually a thing. I've done many Zoom interviews, satellite interviews, and when able, I always stand because I have learned that when standing, it projects confidence to the brain and also projects confidence to the person receiving what you're saying. Secondly, on this confidence piece, steady tone. Here's one thing that'll make you look really insecure. And I'm just going to say a basic thing, okay? Basic phrase. Ready? How to speak like a professional? When you go up in intonation like that, and it's got that a little sing-songy, you know what I mean? That's not confident. Steady tones. Hey, I'm about to tell you how to speak like a professional. If anything, you drop it down, Bob. Slow it down. Change your pace. But this whole, and it's just, and oh my gosh, stop. Okay, next. Number 3 way to speak like a pro. Be courteous to your audience. Pros are very, very aware of their audience, and they're very courteous and respectful in this way: active listening. Real pros, when it comes to speaking, they have a banter, they have a way of connecting with their audience, whoever that is, however many they are, maybe one. But real pros, like the great coaches, they respect the client. They are actively listening, not just waiting for their chance to talk. That's huge. Number 4, way to speak like a pro: have good vocabulary. In other words, get rid of the slang and the jargon. Can I tell you something? And this will be a fun exercise, Nathan, for you to hold me accountable maybe over the next month, because you need something to do in there while you're switching cameras and you're so sick of staring at me. God bless you. This will be fun for Kelly too, because I think she'd take great joy out of this. But how often do I use the word like? I'm going to tell you that I don't think I use it very often. But this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. You want to talk like a pro? Stop saying like all the time. You know what I mean? Like, and so like, oh, it drives me nuts. Drives me nuts. You know, that's one I just said there. You know, I don't say that a lot, but that could be a crutch. Get rid of what I would call the fluff in your speaking. I will tell you another one that I do. I'm going to call myself out here. I do it as a tactic. I don't need it, but I'm still going to call myself out. And I do that for my own entertainment. I mean, Alex has known me a long time. I do media hits all the time. I'm never for a lack of a word, ever. In fact, my brain never needs a moment where I have to go, I'll do it sometimes, but it's a crutch, and that's not a pro move. So I'm calling myself out. Get rid of the lazy jargon, the corporate speak. I'm going to circle back to that one or whatever. Stop that nonsense. Just use words. And this is the second little point under upgrading your vocabulary. Expand yourself. Expand the words. You know? Now, the team gets on me, and I could see them laughing at me in the control booth, so I'm very insecure all of a sudden. But they get on me for some of the words I use, and I get it. There's a healthy tension here between using a 50-cent word that just feels weird and a good word. Okay? Let me give you one example that pops to my mind right now on expanding your vocabulary, and you look like a pro in a meeting. Okay? Let's say you're in a meeting and you say, you're trying to say I'm on the edge, or we're on the edge of something, or we're really close. Okay? What you could say is, we're on the precipice. Oh, what a word. Now, Alex, who, believe me, not easily impressed, knows me. When I just said precipice, you went, oh, that's a good word. In other words, it doesn't sound too over the top. So you would say, here's where we stand. I think that we are getting to a precipice of a, this is going bad, or we're so close, we're on the precipice of a contraction in our customers' engagement. Okay, whatever. Now that word, that's a good word. It's impressive. Everybody knows what it means. They can't even spell it, but they know what it means. But here's where you go too far. And that's another P word. Okay? Using the word proliferation. I couldn't even say it. It's difficult. Proliferation. Oh, what? Don't use the word proliferation. I'm struggling to say it. I'm well-spoken. If I go into a meeting and I talk about, well, there's a proliferation in the tech market right now as it relates to these. Yeah, people are going to be like, what are you talking about? So you got to be careful is my point. There's a tension between good words and then someone going, you're a pinhead because you waited all day to use that word. That would irritate Kelly. If I said proliferation in a meeting, Kelly would roll her eyes at me. I could see you saying, you tried too hard, dude. I could see you being, am I right? I could see you going, okay, all right. Ken's doing word of the day again. You see what I mean? You got to find that balance. Simple little example. Let's keep moving. Number 5. Hack on how to speak like a professional is structure and organizing your thoughts. Even if it's a quick 5-minute portion of the meeting you're in, come up with an outline for yourself, right? I'll give you one that I think works for everybody. It's a hack that I use. If I'm presenting a new idea, I want to lead with what I think the problem is. Then I want to talk about what I think the solution is. And then I want to give the reason why this solution is absolutely a must consider or a must adopt, right? Simple little outline. Have some structure. Great communicators have a structure. They're not just winging it, Have some structure. Organize your thoughts ahead of time. And it could be real simple like that. And then boom, boom, boom. And it doesn't matter how eloquent you are, as long as you deliver the problem, the solution, and the reason for the solution. People are going to say, that was well thought out. And it was. Number 6. Number 6 is nonverbal communication. This is huge. I think the great speakers in any type of speaking, they have such command of their nonverbals. They're very present to create eye contact, not just eye contact, but your face needs to look like you give a crap. By the way, it's really hard sometimes to show someone respect with your eyes and your face when you don't respect their argument, but I do it anyway. What they're saying, I mean, I've been in meetings before, and I'm confessing, content meetings, someone will throw a content idea out, and my brain is going, good Lord, I'm never going to do that in a million years. That's what I'm thinking. And unfortunately, I've said that in meetings too. But as I get better or attempt to get better, I'm going to go, okay, yeah, all right. Okay, yes, and I'm showing some respect there. I'm showing some positivity. My head, my face, everything is saying, thank you for that contribution. I'll consider that. When I know deep down, it's never got a chance, and you know what, of happening. All right. That body language is more than just eye contact. Body language, lean in, look engaged. Number 7, final tip on how to communicate like a pro, like you're speaking like a pro, your actual language. Get feedback. Treat every opportunity that you have to speak as also an opportunity to get some feedback from somebody in the room. Practice some of the things I'm talking about, but more than anything, get feedback. You come up with your own 7 things, 6 things, 5 things, 4 things, 3 things, 2 things, 1 thing, but get feedback. Because when I get feedback on how I'm speaking, I'm getting better. And that's how pros become pros. Practice and feedback. Hey folks, I want to tell you about Aiden. He started at Bethel Tech 2 weeks after graduating high school, and less than a year later, he's 19 and working as a full-stack software developer. He loved the idea of being able to work at his own pace, but what he really thought was cool is Bethel Tech's faith-based learning environment and being with classmates who had a similar worldview. Now, if this is you, or if you have a son or a daughter that's looking for the next step out of high school, and they may be tech-minded, at least interested, you need to talk to Bethel Tech. Listen to this. Fortune Magazine named them as a top 10 best UX UI bootcamp for 2024. And right now, they're offering you 10% off because you listen and watch The Ken Coleman Show. They also allow you to pay cash, and I know you'll like that. Go to betheltech.net/Ken Coleman for details. Terms and conditions apply. All right, welcome back to the Ken Coleman Show. If you're enjoying the show, help us grow by, if you're listening on podcast, give us a follow, a 5-star review, and share. If you're on YouTube watching us, give our video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share as well. Okay, this is very, very fun for me. I love that the team brought me this. There is a guy by the name of Derek Guy. And apparently Derek is known as Twitter's menswear guy. And so he's starting to get some real following, which I think is fun. This is, again, a topic that I care deeply about. I just generally believe that most guys don't give a crap what they wear, and it becomes very obvious to us, and they think it doesn't matter. And I don't think you got to be Ralph Lauren. I don't. But I think you should care about how you look. So I've got a principle I'm going to actually share with you, but this has gotten a lot of attention, so I'm going to cover this. Okay, here we go. He's called the menswear guy, and he's gotten a little tired of what is called the finance bro outfit. Do we have pictures of this we're going to show for our video audience? Okay, for those who can't see this, the finance bro outfit is basically a blue dress shirt and slim low-rise chinos. That makes me want to punch myself in the face when I say that, but that's a type of chino. And a Patagonia vest and a pair of dress sneakers. All right. And so this guy, Derek Guy, says, this is really ugly. He goes, it's vanilla, in other words, boring, doesn't show any personality, and it's not flattering to the body. So Fortune magazine, this is an article in Fortune, says to this guy, well, what do you recommend? And he says, try as hard as you can to incorporate a tailored sport coat into your attire. This gives men a silhouette with broader shoulders and a slimmer waist, which is flattering. So we got to pause here and go, this guy is talking about your white collar jobs. Okay. So your corporate environment. And he's saying, you know what? Take it up a notch. Take it up a notch with the sport coat. All right. So then he goes on to say, this is the classic outfit he suggests. So I want to point something out here, Alex. Sometimes we get opinions from people that aren't actually an opinion. And this is a case for this. He says, don't wear the blue Oxford, which is a classic, sharp-looking shirt. Chinos, he specifically says, the slim, low-rise, which makes me, again, want to punch myself in the face. That's all these definitions is ridiculous, but it's how low it sits on the waist. Boy, I'm self-editing right now. I really want to talk about this new trend with women that I'm seeing, and I would offend so many women. I mean, like, it would be so offensive. It has to do with the rise that is popular right now, and I'm going to leave it at that, Nathan. I'm not even going to say anything. I so bad want to just take that on. Oh, just stay with traditional rise, everybody. Can we just say that? That's all I'm going to say. I've already stepped into it. I feel like Kelly's going to just level me after the show, but we'll see. Okay, so this is what he says. So he says the blue shirt and the low-rise chinos with a vest when I guess it's cold is boring and nice shoes. So what does this guy suggest? Are you ready for this? He says you need the Oxford button-down check. That was in the other outfit he didn't like. He's going to go under a navy sport coat. Boring. With gray wool pants and dress shoes. That's as boring as the other outfit. I'm not trying to pick a fight. I just don't understand. You just went from boring to stuffy boring. I'm just telling Alex, you asked me to comment on this stuff. The blue Oxford with the Patagonia vest or not, with the chinos, and how did he say it? And a pair of dress sneakers, he says is boring. So what's this genius's suggestion? Let's put on a boring navy blue sport coat and boring gray slacks and loafers. Now, again, I have no problem with that outfit. That's a classic. You work at Bank of America and you're the vice president in the lobby. That's what that guy wears. Okay? I just don't understand how this guy's an expert. Fortune went to this guy, and this was his brilliant suggestion? Come to me. I've got actual content. And now I give it to you. So here is the rule. Okay? Forget this guy. This guy is boring, and he's trying to be interesting, and he's not helping. Here are Ken's rules for how to upgrade your work look. Okay? You asked, Alex. Here is how you upgrade your work look. You don't pay attention to this guy. You pay attention to me, and here's some basic rules. Number one, win in Rome. Win in Rome. Now, what does this mean? Classic phrase that when in Rome or where you are, be like the people where you are, right? So I'm going to apply this to work. Win in Rome. Okay, so let's say you work in an office where nobody wears a coat and tie. If you start wearing a sport coat, people are going to think you're uptight. You're the uptight, try too hard, you know what. All right? Fill in whatever they're going to say. So let's say you're in an office that is business casual. So here's the deal. Win in Rome. Be business casual, but now let's step it up 2 notches. That's all the advice you need. We could shut down the show from here. So what does that look like? I'm going to actually explain. So let's go business casual, win in Rome, take it up 2 notches. Just a slight dial up, Bob. All right, so let's go. Here we go. You want to take it up a couple notches? Tuck your shirt in. Tuck your shirt in. Wear a nice belt. Wear shoes that don't look like you might have cut the grass in them over the weekend and you forgot to wipe the soles. I don't care what the shoe is. Could be a nice loafer. Give you an example. All right, I'm business casual. This is our office. Look at me. I got a nice sweater. Nothing fancy. I've decided to go up 2 notches by taking the sleeves up. I look a little different, a little casual. Now I want to show you the shoe. Okay. This is a classic loafer. Nothing fancy. Okay. Not even super expensive. This is a Banana Republic loafer. Classic penny loafer slot here. It's a tan suede. And I've got no socks, which says I'm intentional. I'm casual. Loafers are meant to be worn without socks. All right. Just if anybody's keeping score at home. So here's the deal. I'm business casual, but I've got a sweater with no t-shirt. I could have a sweater with a collared shirt. Doesn't matter. I'm taking it up 2 levels. Win in Rome. I have some nice khaki slacks on right now, chinos, and so I've win in Rome. Dial it up 2 notches. Don't go over the top, but look presentable. Last little key thing on this win in Rome. Dial it up 2 notches. That means I'm tucked in. I'm a little neater. I'm ironing my clothes, whatever. I gave you some suggestions. Here's the last piece. Wear clothes that fit you. If you are 30 pounds overweight, guys, hello, 20 to 30 pounds, 10 to 30, that's probably the range in America today. The temptation is for you to wear a shirt that is oversized. I've got news for you. It makes you look even bigger. Okay? Let's talk about skinny guys. Okay? If you are super skinny and you have skinny legs, and I have the scrawniest, awful legs you've ever seen in your life, they're terrible. I shouldn't wear super skinny clothes on my legs. You know why? It makes me look awful. Wear some freer flowing pants that fit your body type, guys. And for the love of everything that's holy, stop wearing dirty shoes to work. If you're going to wear leather shoes, guys, polish them. If you don't know how to polish them, learn, for crying out loud, or take them to a guy who polishes them. So this guy's an expert on Twitter saying, hey, just dress it up with a sport coat. No, here's the rule. Win in Rome, dress like everybody else, and dial it up 2 notches by looking neat, by wearing well-fitting clothes. And I'm telling you, when you walk through the hallways, when you walk into meetings, you will stand out. This is huge. But most guys don't wear clothes that fit. It's too baggy or too tight. For the love of God, make it about the clothes and stop trying to be muscle guy or super skinny jeans guy. Nobody wants to look at your body silhouette at all. Make it about being sharp. And here's what's going to happen. You're going to stand out. So there you go. I don't know why the other guy's getting quoted. That right there, that's a winning formula. Win in Rome, dress like everybody else, dial it up 2 notches. You'll stand out. All right, welcome back to the Ken Coleman Show, here to help you win. Hey, if you are in a place of confusion, a lack of confidence, you need to get the Get Clear assessment, find the work you're wired to do, the book and the assessment together. One incredible price is going to help you with a self-awareness report on what you're good at, what you enjoy doing, and what motivates you so that you can figure out who you are and then where I can do the work that I'm wired to do. Let's go to Waldo. By the way, you can get that at kencoleman.com in the store. Let's go to Waldo in Ontario, Canada. Waldo, you're on the Ken Coleman Show. How can I help?
Hi, Ken. I'll give you the short version, and then we'll dig down if you want.
Okay.
I'm in the process of a promotion. It's fully in effect in about a week here, and I have my meeting with my boss next week to discuss compensation and how it looks going forward. Trying to figure out how to best handle that conversation with him and how to articulate it.
Okay.
So I've been here for about 5 years. The role that I'm adding to my current role, the gentleman is retiring. It's not a full-time position, but it's still quite a big workload that I'll be adding to my current job. And so it's very difficult for me to understand how to be compensated, because it's in addition to not a complete different role that I'm doing. How do I navigate that with my boss?
Okay. How much more workload would you say is being added to your plate?
I would say close to maybe 50%, maybe a little less.
Okay. And if I understood you right, you're assuming the duties of someone who's retiring. They're essentially just saying, we think that you can do what he did in this amount of work, and it turns out it's about 50% more work.
Correct.
And
which is doable, and I do believe that I can do it.
All right, so the 50% is above and beyond what you're going to continue to do.
Correct.
Okay. Well, there is no... Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, he's been semi-retired over the last 6 months, and so I've been slowly taking it on, and then starting here in July, I'll be doing a full-time, and he won't no longer be at the company.
Yeah, I got you. So here's my response. Go ahead. Keep going. I'm trying to get you where you... I'm going to give you my opinion, but go ahead. What else you got?
So one thing I did want to note is my boss is a politician by heart. So whenever I walk into these meetings, I he already has the whole conversation played out, and it's going to end the way he wants it. So I kind of walk out of the office every time with, what just happened? And then I got to play it back over the next few days. So this meeting should have happened in December to see what the next 6 months, 2 years would look like as the role becomes full. But instead we're jumping it halfway through. So now it's okay. Well, now you're here. We don't have any other options. So I guess you're doing the job.
So there's been no compensation discussion at all yet.
Correct.
But you're already starting the assimilation. You haven't fully taken it on.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, your boss may be the politician, but I hear in you and almost you're settling. Like, this guy always does this to me, and so and I think you just
that's why I'm having the conversation with you. Exactly.
I know, but my point is, it starts with mindset.
Right.
You don't have to take this job. He needs this. He needs you to take this job. Are those statements true or false?
That's correct.
Okay. So we start there. That'll help your mindset. And I also believe you probably have never been as clear with him and as confident with him as you should be. So therefore, it feels like that happens in every meeting. And I think that's more on you than it is him.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying when I say that?
I feel like I do portray it, or I do say exactly what's on mind, sometimes a little bit too bluntly.
Oh, okay.
But he still has a way of turning the conversation.
Okay.
And just the way that the conversation goes, I end up leaving confused.
Okay. But again, that's still on you.
Yeah.
Because the minute he confuses you, you got to go, hey, I don't understand. We just went from here to here. I mean, you've got to stand your ground in asking questions. You don't have to make strong statements that are too strong. Turn questions into your friend. Because when you're asking a question, it's a whole lot easier for him to receive than a statement. Does that make sense relationally?
Yep.
You've done that in marriage and in parenting probably, right?
100%.
Made a statement when a question would have been a lot more effective. Okay. So let me tell you what I think. I don't have a formulaic answer to this question because this is a very custom question, which I'm fine with, but there's no formula here. So when there's no philosophical or practical formula or no industry standard, and somebody asks me for coaching, I go to common sense, and that's all I can do. So I'm going to give you my common sense answer based on, if I were you, how I would enter into the conversation about comp. All right? So number one, you need to start with, hey, we haven't had a compensation discussion yet, and I'm just uncomfortable going any further because I don't want to create tension. We've got to have a compensation conversation sooner rather than later. That's
right on that note right there, I did ask 2 months ago to have this conversation. He said, no, we'll do it at the end of June.
Okay, fine. But he gave you a timeline into June. Fine. So now, do we have that meeting set up?
It's due for next week, but I don't have a day, no.
Well, then you need to go to him and go, hey, you said end of June and I want to have this because I'm just not comfortable having this. You just got to lay it out there. All right? Now, if you're going to have the compensation conversation with him, the way I'm looking at it is I would try to have an idea, and if you can't get that information because it's personal, I would be looking at a formula that I'm making up here that says another guy is retiring. He's giving you his job, his duties. You're adding it to what you're doing, and you believe it's about 50% more work. That's an interesting rule of thumb. I think you should get a raise that is at least half of his salary.
I wasn't sure if I was out to lunch on that or not. Those were my thoughts.
That's where I start. It's a common. It might be aggressive, but it's a starting point. You just go, here's where I'm at. Like, I'm taking on his job, and it's saving you 50%. I would spin it that it's saving you 50%. Now, here's the deal. The reason I'm a little aggressive on that is that, to me, it's common sense. Does that, by the way, I'm just really curious, quick check in the booth. Does that feel common sense to you? He's taking on a guy's position. He's retiring. If you pay that dude 100, I think that he should get 50. Does that seem crazy to you all? All right, I'm just testing because here's why I'm saying this. He might go, whoa, that's a little high. Maybe let's go 30%, but it's still a bump for you. And I think you got to come in at a higher level. So I think there's a couple dynamics going on. I think you're going to have to stand your ground, and you're going to have to call this guy's bluff. I think he's just using his leadership position to push you around. And I don't think it has to be ugly, but I think you need to say, no, I really am not comfortable going forward in this position. I'm just not comfortable until we have this conversation. And you got to see where you stand. Does he really need you enough to where he goes, okay, I got to change my tactics? That's how I'd play it.
Thanks for listening to The Ken Coleman Show. For more, you can find the show on demand wherever you listen to podcasts and watch the show on YouTube. You can also find Ken across all social media by following @Ken Coleman.